All right, sweet. Welcome everybody. Well, I'm gonna get things kicked off real quick because I know that Chad Scourse is on his way home, and I want to get his issue and predicament on the docket before he hits a dead zone on the way home. Um, and then we'll get into weekly wins, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of like what the theme of what we talked about last week when Vlad was running the meeting. So Chad, tell us what you got going on. Refi on Colonial Plaza. Bring us up to speed.
Yeah, so I figure it's a good time to get into the refi process. Had a bunch of renewals recently, and had a couple tenants that I signed on 5-year leases. So just talking to Matt, seemed like a good time to do the refinance. But I have one kind of caveat with the refi, and that is Pineapple Jacks. As most people know on the call, there's the Pineapple Jack saga that's been going on. They were my largest tenant and my biggest pain in the ass. So basically their lease was supposed to, or did end in on July 31st. And I've been reaching out to them since March to try to get a renewal, a lease extension, whatever it is. And just nothing. They keep saying that there's issues in the family, there's medical issues, whatever's going on, excuse after excuse. And I've been telling them for the last like 2 months, I'm like, look, I'm not doing this month to month thing. This is just something we cannot do.
Mhm.
And still, after all this time, really no movement, no attempt to make a meeting or anything. So I had my attorney sent them a letter at the beginning of August saying that if they did not have a new lease signed by September 1st, that we will be pursuing a kind of eviction for them or removing them from the property. So kind of a sticky situation where I'm basically ready to refinance, but kind of I don't know. I think I'm not going to be able to refinance because I don't have a lease with my largest tenant.
Yeah, and the kind of the predicament here is like when you have let's say you're like brand new on fresh like 5 year renewals and leases and that sort of thing. Like you want to have as much lease duration as possible on your your overall rent roll so that you can get the best deal from a valuation standpoint and from a refinance standpoint. So that's the reason why this is like time sensitive. Um, so let's talk about the rent roll right now. Like off the top of your head, I know you probably don't have the rent roll in front of you, Chad, but like um, estimate like what's like the including Pineapple Jacks, like what's the total monthly like billings on this property?
Yeah, I sadly got this memorized. Monthly billings is like 25 grand a month, whatever. It should be like 305,000 a year currently.
Okay, so 25
That's
grand a month.
current as it sits. Yeah,
Okay, so you get 25 grand a month. Okay, every other space is filled up except like you have this issue with Pineapple Jacks, right?
correct. Yeah, 100% full. And yep, everybody's on has some leeway in their, or I don't know, whatever it is. They have some road in their lease. They got a couple years left in their leases.
Okay. Now let's talk about what Pineapple Jacks is paying with their contract right now.
Yeah, they're like 575 a square foot, so they're paying 5,315 a month. Um, yeah, and they have like about 11,000 ish square feet. Should be
Hmm.
right around 5.5 to $6 a foot gross.
Okay. So yeah, so that makes about like 20% of your rent roll.
Yep.
Okay. Excellent. So this is what I would do is that one, I mean, if you really wanted to run this thing through, I mean, like from a vacancy like market vacancy and collection law standpoint, this property would probably the appraiser would probably give it anywhere between like a 10 to 15%, I mean 10 to 5% market vacancy factor for the property. Okay. So if Pineapple Jacks only occupied or took up about 10% of the rent roll, then to be honest with you, they wouldn't even really matter. because
Yeah.
an appraiser is already going to have you budget 10%, 10% for vacancy loss anyways. So what I would do, and then have you discussed this situation with your your loan officer at whatever bank you're going to bring this to for a refi?
No, not really. I'm kind of keeping it not a secret, but I'm just kind of keeping it close to my chest at the moment. If anything, I may have said that I'm working through a lease extension with them.
Okay. Yeah, and it sounds like there's probably not a lease extension to be had. Um, so okay, because one of the things that's going to happen is that even if the bank doesn't require it, and you have a tenant that, and they have they have an option to renew, right?
They did, but
They did.
they had to use that or exercise that within 120 days of their lease expiring, which would have been March 31st.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so
Um,
they blew by that.
but it's a 5 year. But is it a 5 year lease renewal option?
They had three-year renewal options.
Okay, so they have a
Um,
three year renewal option. Okay.
yeah, and just in rough conversations I had with the bar manager and whatever, and it seemed like they were willing or wanted to do maybe a 1, 2, or 3 year lease extension.
Hmm.
My hunch was that they weren't ready to leave just yet, and they might attempt to try to sell the business, which they probably think it's worth a lot, but it's not.
Yeah, no, 100%. Um, so this is what I would suggest if I was in your shoes, and here and the reasons why. Okay, so one thing is that even though we all know that an option to renew is only to the advantage of the tenant, okay, banks like to see tenants that have lease options negotiated. Okay, so if you were to bring this deal to the bank, okay, say, hey, listen, we're working through negotiating the lease renewal right now. They do have a 3 year option to renew, and we're working through that. We may not be able to resolve this before closing. Okay.
Okay.
Um, the fact that you have a 3 year lease option could actually work in your favor, even though the option is actually expired. Okay, because
Okay.
they just like to see it. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the only caveat that could happen is that if you're going through the actual refinance process, okay, and like let's say, okay, you submit the rent roll, you submit the pro forma, you submit the historical financials on the property and all that sort of thing, uh, and they give you a commitment letter, all right, for whatever. And then what type of loan, takeout loan, are you looking to get on this property, and what you think it's worth right now?
Um, I think a loan amount will need to be right around 1.5, and then value should be right around 2.2 to 2.2.
Okay, 2.2. Okay, okay.
Yeah, it's probably like 1.9 to 2 right now, but with like the stepped up leases and stuff that I have, right, is that it? Do I have that right that they'll look at future rent amounts and count that towards the appraisal?
Yeah, so they'll typically an appraiser will count next year's rent. Okay, so if you have bumps in your current tenants, and like also before we get to like actually like a formal like application for refinance, let's grab a one-on-one so we can go through this just like I did with Carlo because he's in the process right now,
Mm-hmm.
just to make sure it's like I know how banks want to look at this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so primarily your objective is like probably like okay, let me just like get my investors paid back
Yeah.
during the refinance. Okay, so um, okay, so I think you definitely have enough equity to make that happen. Um, and what happens is that when the bank issues a commitment letter, the commitment letter, everybody is just like it's essentially same thing with residential. It's like the bank is saying like we are contractually obligated to fund this loan based upon these certain conditions, right? Whether it's appraisal, environmental, all that stuff, right? Um, and once you sign that, it also has to receive the deal has to receive the blessing of their attorney, which is the bank attorney, all right? And sometimes the bank attorney will require what's called estoppels from the tenants. So who here has gone through the estoppel process with commercial tenants before? Okay. Yep. All right. Yeah. So who wants to volunteer? Oh, Rob Jones. Um, you might be washing dishes right now, but tell us about tell about what is an estoppel?
Uh, um, it's essentially just the tenants, my understanding of it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the tenants are signing a paper just stating that they are in a lease and they intend to stay in the lease, like essentially.
Yeah, they're essentially saying like, hey, this lease dated at this time, okay, along with these amendments dated at this time are all in full force and effect, okay, and we do not. And essentially, sometimes the estoppel, like the bank attorney will actually draft the estoppel, okay, and sometimes they'll have language that says, that the tenant does not hold the landlord in contempt or violation of the lease terms. The landlord does not hold the tenant in contempt for violation of lease provisions, that sort of thing, right? So this is where the hair could come up, Chad, in this whole thing. Is that you get this whole thing, you get the commitment letter, and then the bank attorney wants an estoppel. And then when did you close on this property, Chad? Was it in 2024?
No, 25,
2025.
May of 25, or no, late April of 2025.
Okay. So perhaps the bank attorney could, and was there estoppels that were signed when you acquired the property?
Yep. Yeah, there's
Okay.
only two new tenants. So there is technically recent estoppels from 2025 for whatever, 6 out of my 8 tenants.
Okay. So
And
there might,
yeah, I don't know. And there's also a recent appraisal too that was done in early 2025.
okay. Yeah, and I'm
That's
not concerned about the, yeah,
okay.
I'm not concerned about the appraisal. And also, by the way, like I wouldn't share that appraisal with, what did it appraise at when you bought it?
1.39.
Yeah, basically right around what you bought it for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I would not share that appraisal because they're gonna
Okay.
say like, oh, geez, Chad, how the hell did you, make a property you bought for like 1.3 worth like 2 million, 2.2 within like 12 months? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
So
they already
definitely,
have the appraisal, right? I mean, it's the same bank.
if you're bringing it back to the same bank to get a second behind the first, but at the same time, like I would not like, if you were, let's say, shopping this around to a different
Oh
bank, for
yeah, no,
instance,
I'm
like,
no, I'm not planning on doing that.
okay, okay, all right. So what could happen is they might be able to use those estoppels that were used during your purchase because they're not that old,
Yeah.
and then only require estoppels from the new tenants that you got on there, or ones you actually renewed or negotiated new leases on. Okay. Um, so, but like what could happen is, they say, oh no, we want an estoppel from Pineapple Jacks. Okay. And then you're actually like chasing the tenant down to get an estoppel signed on it, even though they are in holdover right now, and you're
Mhm.
working through trying to negotiate a lease. Sometimes, if you get estoppels for all of the other tenants, and you have a good attorney working for you, then they can work with bank attorneys. Like, listen, guys, they're trying to sell the business. They're currently in the place. They're in holdover right now. They have an option. They have an option to renew. Like, if we get all of these estoppels across all of the rent roll, are you cool with just having this one not be there?
Mhm.
Okay. I have had that happen on many occasions because as long as you have a reasonable bank attorney and also your attorney is easy to work with, okay, and is affable and like it's like a deal maker, not a deal breaker, then
Mhm.
I've had that happen a lot of times, Chad. So,
Okay. All
but
right.
there's like a little bit of rolling of the dice, a little bit.
Isn't there always?
Oh yeah, yeah. And then if it comes down to, hey Chad, we like this deal, man. We need to have a lease renewal in place on this deal, right? So then,
Yeah.
okay, cool. I'll get it done. I'll get it done. You know, whether it's getting a lease renewal with them or getting possession back of the space. All right.
Yeah.
And you and I, when we get on a one-on-one to refresh the to reprep this file for refinance, we'll do a sensitivity analysis based upon Pineapple Jack's income disappearing off the rent roll
Yeah.
and seeing what
Yeah.
type of outcome that might have from a valuation standpoint. Because I know that probably your number one objective is to like, hey, I just want to get my investors their money back. And then once we get Pineapple Jack's place released, maybe in a couple of years we'll take a second bite at the apple and and actually pull some cash out of the deal. So, but sound like a plan?
Yeah, I gotcha. That sounds good. Yeah, I'm already kind of been going through some back and forth emails with CNB, who the current loan is with now, to start the process, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Any other questions or thoughts, or thoughts from anybody else in the group on this, or questions if what we sound if we were talking about sounded like Polish or Russian? Cam, you unmuted yourself, so you like volunteered to ask a question here.
Yeah, I was just gonna go offer Chad if he needs me to, talk to some people over at Pineapple Jacks. I'll do whatever you need, Chad.
Yeah, we'll just have a big crew show up and say sign this lease renewal
You will sign
and
this.
Estoppel.
Yeah.
It's such a black and white situation. There's good and bad with it. Like the good, if they left, the replacement tenant's going to be paying almost double what they're paying now, or whatever, the two tenants that I might backfill. But it's just like short-term pain that it's going to be a while before I find a tenant to replace that space.
Yeah, and too bad it's a bikers bar, which there's probably like a lot of Hell's Angels in there. So you guys would have to probably go with like either the Yakuzas or the Triads or something like that.
Exactly.
Oh, all right, man. Well, yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the file and get my eyes on it, so we can kind of do that sensitivity analysis on that, if that sounds good with you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sweet. All right. Recent wins, everybody. Let's get 3 of them. 3 recent wins. All right. These don't have to be big wins. They could be small wins. Well, Cam, I mean, you're still unmuted, so why don't you go?
Wins. Yeah, I think just starting to get some meetings set. I've had a couple meetings this week. Feels like things are starting to get in motion more. Still trying to get clarity on what I'm going after, but Matt, you and I were talking today, and I feel like the more I just jump in and take action, the more that clarity will come over time. So I'm feeling the win of like momentum starting, not necessarily like knowing exactly what's next, but just getting out there and taking action. That's my win for this week.
Okay. Yeah, and you had a meeting with a real estate broker, right?
Yep. Met
Okay.
with Pete Gillette, great guy. Very knowledgeable, very connected. I think he's the president of NYSCAR, if I'm correct.
Yeah, New York State Commercial Association of Realtors.
Hmm.
Yeah, so how did okay, so some of us have social anxiety here. All right. So, and Cam, I know we were talking to earlier together, like, and it's like, oh man, I'm an introvert and that sort of thing. So what was you reached out to him, right? He didn't reach out to you. Is that correct?
No, I we're actually friends on Facebook, so I messaged him there and then um asked for his cell, and then I just gave him a call and introduced myself and said I'd love to buy you a coffee. Um and then we did. He's like, I'd love to. And he's like, he actually said, I love your videos. I've been following Real 3D for a while. And it's funny, I get a lot of those comments and I don't realize how many people actually see our stuff and are already know who we are. So I think that was a nice advantage that he already knew me as an entrepreneur locally and all that. But yeah, it was just, I just kind of saw that we were connected and figured, and Chad actually recommended, he's like, you should reach out to Pete. Um, so I did, and I just did it, just did it.
Yeah. And then what was your specific message when you DM'd him?
Can look right now. It was Pete. Um, Actually, I might have just found his cell and texted him. Yeah, I said, hey Pete, this is Cam Van Kerkhove. Looks like we're connected on social media. Wanted to shoot you a quick message to introduce myself. I'm on the hunt for a commercial property, and several colleagues said I should connect with you. Can I buy you coffee or lunch sometime? And he said, absolutely, thanks, Cam. This is my email. And then we just started a conversation from there.
Mhm. And then in just starting your commercial real estate journey, I don't know, were you kind of feeling like, oh geez, man, like I don't know what I'm going to talk to this guy about? Like kind of like talk to us like through your headspace and how you actually were like, I don't know, did you have imposter were you feeling imposter syndrome? Like, walk us through that.
Yeah, I definitely was. I definitely was a little I wouldn't say nervous, but definitely like felt it wasn't a normal, like I meet with prospective clients all the time and can very easily like talk my way through things because I know my business, I know what I'm trying to pitch and whatnot. And being so new in this arena, I definitely felt like he was maybe looking at me and like, this guy's such a noob. He doesn't really know what he's talking about. But thankfully, Pete was a super nice guy. He's like, I took the approach of kind of asking for his advice because I know he owns some property himself. And um, I know, Matt, you were talking about this on another review of someone's call that you did, of not positioning yourself like you're a newbie, but in this case, I did do that. And
Hmm.
in hindsight, maybe I would have taken a different route, but it still ended up being a great conversation. And I think he knows my goals. I was just kind of transparent with him of what I'm looking to do and what I'm looking to buy. And he's like, yeah, I'll definitely like keep an eye out for you on properties. And um, yeah, I guess it was more so just me asking him, about his journey and kind of taking the interview style of asking him his background and letting him talk more than me. So I think the meeting still went well, but I definitely felt a little a little imposter syndrome on this first.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. Is like it's completely fine, especially like you don't have to know everything, right? And Cam, I commend you for like taking the action like so soon because like there's like so many people that are like, oh my gosh, like I need to like consume like 10 hours of like Matt's like content and that sort of thing before I even talk to a broker. Or anybody in the commercial real estate transaction space because I don't want to look like I'm stupid or that I don't have experience, that sort of thing. And one of the things that like I've really learned on all of this type of thing, like with learning from somebody, is that like I don't have to know. I can know shit, okay, all right, or I can be like I don't know shit, okay, and then I can actually control the conversation and never even have to like talk about like my experience or lack thereof or anything like that because I'm just taking an interest in somebody, okay, and the great thing about that is that one is that like, you're actually like taking interest in somebody, so you're making them feel good, okay? And then at the end of the day, people want to help other people, okay? I know like people think that the whole world is like cutthroat and everybody's out for themselves and that sort of thing. But I mean, if you're in a community, I mean, if you ask for help from somebody, like you're like they'll probably say yeah, like most cases they'll say yes, okay, or help whatever way they can. Um, but the biggest mistake you can make is talking out of your ass. Okay. So just don't do that. And you can prevent yourself from talking out of your ass if you just are like, asking questions like, oh yeah, Pete, like, I am starting my journey into commercial real estate. I've owned some rental property before, but what are you seeing out there, like in the market, right? Super open-ended question. Okay, asking like really, really open-ended questions. Okay, you're gonna learn a lot on that. All right, because and then you're gonna learn like a way more than like, let's say, going to YouTube University. And yeah, is that kind of how you handle it? Did you talk out of your ass at all, like during the meeting, or what?
Matt, you know me, I never talk out of my ass, but yeah, that's the approach I took. I kind of bombarded him with questions and did take that approach of like, hey, um, I think it helped that I wasn't, he knew I was an entrepreneur. I had that going for me. I wasn't a complete like stranger off the streets asking for his time. So I think I had some credibility already.
Hmm.
He knew I had built a business and stuff, but yeah, again, I was just taking the approach of like, you know more than me. Tell me what's going on in the market. What would you do if you were in my shoes and you were looking to buy your first property? He actually had some good tips about, what kind of stuff he likes, what he tends to stay away from, what he's learned being a broker for all these years and the experience he has. So I think it was a very productive meeting. I'm glad I did it, and it makes me confident to, approach the next one and just keep getting the reps in and just keep taking action.
All right, congrats, man. Huge win.
Thank, thank you.
All right, who's got the second win this week? Anybody? Oh, oh, Casey, go ahead.
Sure. Just started perusing a few things on Craigslist, Carlo and I, and just started calling on them and haven't got any responses yet, but I'm gonna reach out via phone tomorrow, and so that's a win. To kind of summer was a little bit of a slow point of being busy and running around with family and everything, so getting back into is a win.
100%. And so you called like the listing agents then on some of
No,
these
I'm
deals.
gonna call. I tried to do it all through the email, but I haven't got anything back, and I've been checking my spam and everything. So, I mean, I just did this Monday, so
Okay.
it's
Yeah. So the
they're getting
calling,
called tomorrow though.
yeah, calling is the best way because like I know as a former real estate broker myself, like commercial real estate broker, like I would get inundated with like LoopNet, lead through LoopNet or lead through Cruxy and that sort of thing. And like, dude, I would like ignore all that shit. All right. And
That makes
most
sense.
brokers. So then, so the art of the art of the phone, the art of the phone call is like the most effective way. So yeah, it's like there's nothing bad you said, Casey.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad you said. It's just they don't respond to those messages. So
Well, speaking
um,
about that, well, I remember when I had first started talking to brokers, you had said to me, ask them two questions and then you don't have to say anything else. They'll do the rest of the talking. And I was going to tell Cam that literally you can ask like two questions and they'll take up the rest of the hour because they like to talk a lot.
That's amazing.
So, all right, awesome, man. That's a good win. All right,
Yeah.
Kevin Pfeiffer, what's up, man? What's your win?
Yeah, small one. I've got an appointment Friday coffee with Lisa that you pointed my direction to have that discussion. So we'll see if she's looking to be a hands-on investor or a hands-off investor.
Absolutely, man. I'm trying to at least add some value to the group through my Facebook my Facebook advertising. I was like, you have a daughter in Wichita. You're curious about the market. I actually have a
Yeah.
client that's in Wichita, so why don't you be with them? So
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna hit a coffee shop in one of the redeveloping districts and just see where the conversation goes.
awesome, man. That's great. That's great. I'm happy to make the connection. And she's like a really, really nice, like thoughtful, like person. So I think at the very least, you'll make a new friend.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Any wins before I pick on somebody else?
Well, I just heard back from one of the lenders I'm trying to refi through, and their board met this afternoon on increasing their loan amounts per individual or per entity, and they got approval to go up to 2.5 million. So,
Okay, yeah.
which is great, because if we can get 80% on the valuation we spoke about, it's going to be below that, but it's more than they had me capped at 2 before. So now
Mhm.
this could possibly bring it up to 2.2, 2.3. So really psyched about that. Do you want to, I was going to call you on this. Do you want to meet to go over all 3 of these term sheets, or should I just kind of go through them and just pick one I think is the best?
So do you have them dropped into our in the shared folder that's in the Westfall deal folder?
Not yet.
Okay. Drop them there. Shoot me
Okay.
a text, shoot me a text message so then I can go through them.
Okay.
And then at the very least I'll record a Loom video in
Okay.
terms of like my thing on there. And then and then also like at the end of the day, if there's a difference, like a minor difference between 2 of them, but there's just one where like really that was like, okay, I think this could be a really easy person to work with.
Yep.
I'm gonna take the slightly worse deal than doing that, because like every single time, especially working with lenders, okay, when I've gotten that gut feeling of like,
Yep.
oh, I don't know, man. Like I just feel like I'm gonna have a hard time like connecting with this person, and it seems like they're just not that like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I mean,
I can already tell from the 3 that I've spoken to, and it's luckily the one that's given me the best deal is the one that's been the easiest to work with.
yeah.
Because the other ones have just been like, just picky about questions. And they're like, oh, I see you've got a couple of dentists there. Their leases are expiring in 2 years. Have you had conversations about, if they're staying or leaving? And I'm like, dude, you haven't even given me a term sheet yet. And you're asking me all these questions. It's like,
Mhm.
tell me where
Yeah.
you are approximately, and then we'll dig in.
Yeah. So like, I mean, Carlo, you've been in sales long enough like to know it's like, typically like the your like intuition will serve you really well. It's like, okay, this person might be a grenade, okay, or they're like seriously like blowing smoke up my ass.
Yeah.
And so and I'll typically like, listen, dude, I don't even care like the term sheet gets to me. Like I'm like I just don't feel good about this, because every time I've like gone away from that, and I've had like, especially a loan officer that's been like, oh damn, give me an offer I can't refuse. It's always been a disaster.
Yeah.
Always been a disaster. So
Yeah. And the one guy that you talked to me about that like looks to like kill deals, it's like that's kind of like what he was doing. I'm like, come on, man.
No, absolutely. Well, cool, man. Yeah, no, drop those in there, and then shoot me a text. I'll take a look at them. But I think you probably know the answer. It's like, if it, and this just so happens to be the guy that's the easiest to, that you've liked and enjoyed working with this thus far, is also the one where they got the relationship or the deal limit raised on it too.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably go in that direction, to be honest with you. What's their commitment fee?
Half a
% Half a point.
Half point.
Okay. All right. Half a point. They're credit unions. They got no prepayment penalty.
Yep.
I don't know. Without even looking at the term sheets, Carl, I think
I know. and they're offering a 30-year AM besides.
Oh yeah. No, they'll help with cash flow too. So awesome.
So, all right. I'll load them up there though.
Sweet. Okay, Vlad. You were running.
What is up?
Okay, so you're running last week. We opened up the conversation about OPM. Okay, so for those of you who missed it, what'd you talk about last week?
What do we talk about? We talked about raising capital and meeting new investors, meeting new people. So I Cam had a lot of questions, but he already talked, so I'll pick on someone else. Carlo also we got a lot of feedback from. Um, let's see. I want to talk about Matt Barbaccia because he's been able to raise quite a bit of capital on some of his deals. So maybe he's got some insight.
Oh man, I'm honored you selected me, Vlad.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. So,
A plus student over here.
I don't think so. Maybe with a curve. Um, Raising capital. I mean, I think obviously being ready with those people before the deal comes versus the other way around is probably the most critical part of that, right? So having those conversations and keeping those people up to date. I mean, Matt, you talk about that all the time. Just like updating people on what you're doing and keeping these OPM network people, the KLT, like trust people updated with what you're up to. And in my personal situation, I guess I can just share a little bit on that. So I've raised 100% of a flex space acquisition that I purchased last year. It's a 10,000 square foot pole barn, but it's divided up into 4 units. And I raised that capital from 3 separate parties, all people that were like, one was a family member, 2 were like family friendish people that knew I was in real estate that I've, kept up to date with getting into commercial. So I structured those deals as standard promissory notes, and I actually didn't have them filed as mortgages. And I'm having this refinanced right now, and they're asking for all those documents and payoff statements and all this other stuff. So I'm kind of learning a lot about that back end side of things when you're exiting with private money, holding a property like this. They're asking, who the mortgages are made out to. I'm telling them there wasn't a mortgage made out, and it's more so just a standard note. And they're like, okay, that's interesting. Where's the signed documentation? Was it notarized? I'm like, no, it was people that just sent me a lot of money, and I had a promissory note that I signed that I was going to pay it back. It's not secured by anything other than the building, and that was good enough for them. So this is my point being is this is not, institutional hard money capital that I've raised in this particular example. These are people that I know that wanted to invest in something that has a better return than, say, a bond, but didn't want to risk getting into the stock market with capital at this point in their investing careers. So these people all range from like 50 to, I don't know, 70 or so in age, and they're not like risk tolerant at this point. So I pitched them that this deal was a good opportunity to get into because at the very least, if I fail, you can take the building and sell it and get your money back, maybe. I
We
forgot
got a
where I
good
was
deal
going.
on it, so they'll get their money back.
Yeah, so it did refi at where I wanted it to go in at, and everything is worked out. And I think the whole point of this is that now this was a proof of concept. This was my first commercial deal, and I know for one particular group, one particular couple that funded part of this deal, they have a lot more capital at their expense, and this was kind of like a let's see how you do with this type situation. And I think in the future I'll be able to roll that capital that I now give them back with their interest, into another project. And I structured with all 3 of these people that all interest and principal payments were deferred for a 2-year holding period so that I could reposition this property because it was only 30% occupied when I bought it. So I needed a lot of capital just to get everything fixed up, renovated. There wasn't a lot of stuff it needed, but it helped me to not have to like do like mortgage payments when I had 1 paying tenant and I needed to find 3 others. So now I'm fully leased up with 4 tenants and I'm ready to refinance. I'm 8 months into a 24-month loan period. So it's kind of a good look, I guess, for them to see that like we're refinancing right now and that I was very conservative with the timeline. And I'll probably kick them a bonus. There was no prepayment penalty. So again, these are people that really know, like, and trust me. And we're like, whatever, like we want to see you succeed. This is cool. Well, maybe we'll make a couple $1,000s. But like, really it's about building that relationship. So I'm gonna stop talking now, but that's kind of the
So
gist
how
of
did
it.
the conversation go with kicking back the payments? Because that's usually the deal killer for a lot of people. When you
Well, that's what we're talking about right now.
right, so,
Like I gotta pay you guys. Like the payoff statements, right? Like that's now ongoing. Like we're kind of like starting to itemize that, and maybe they're going to realize, oh well, I was hoping you'd hold on to this a little bit longer. My hope is that I'll find another deal, and I can say, hey, let's roll this into another project, and why not like continue working together? This went really well. Is that kind of what you were wondering?
yeah, no, but also in the beginning, just asking someone to invest into a deal where there's no monthly or quarterly distributions, because that's the thing that scares a lot of people. They want a shorter horizon to see something coming in.
Yeah, yeah. And if this was like a person, I'm thinking of several people that we all probably know that are hard money lenders. And if I brought this deal, I actually did shop this deal with a couple of them. And they were
Mhm.
like, well, I need, 3 points up front, and it's going to be 14% for this first one because I don't know you that well. And, so I was like,
Yeah.
ouch, like that'll probably still pencil out. But, here I am now, like cutting off an arm to, make this work. And in the future, will I work with those people? Possibly. But I just found a better solution with people that I had been keeping up with my real estate journey. I've been following the stuff I post on social media for like the residential stuff I've done, and just a lot of contracting and other type work along those lines. They've just been following me and say, okay, well, you're not like completely novice at this. Kind of what Cam was saying, like people know you're entrepreneurial. How you present yourself online is very important. I used to think it wasn't, but obviously you start to notice that people say, hey, I saw that video, you're pouring that concrete slab, or you were renovating this apartment, like it seems like you're doing stuff. This is a good person that I could probably invest in. They aren't just like BSing and a snake oil salesman that's kind of selling one thing and the reality is something else.
Yeah.
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 And then on the interest deferral thing, because I've done deals like that before. How to get somebody comfortable with it is, generally speaking, like even somebody that is like, let's say between their 50s and maybe 70s, like all they're looking to do is have their money work better for them. Okay. And typically like the interest payments like are not something they're going to be like spending right away. Okay. Sometimes they do need the income. Okay. They like need it. They need it now. But in terms of how you position the deal, and if you're really transparent about it, is like, listen, this deal we're buying, it's like it's got like a just like the one that we recently did about 5 or 6 months ago. It's got a few tenants, okay? It's got the rents enough to pay for its like, mortgage, taxes, insurance, like all of the utilities, all the things, repairs and maintenance, but it doesn't have the income to support debt service on the property. Not right now. Okay. So that being said, we can pay you monthly, but if you're interested, you don't need the money right now. We can actually, have you compound interest. Okay. So if we're paying you 10% interest and it's a 3-year deal and we defer the payments, we can actually have that interest earn interest on top of it if you don't need the money right now. And some investors are okay with that. Some of them are like, I need the income. And the best investors that are for like those like deferred payments are self-directed IRA investors. Okay. Because one thing, who's used their self-directed IRA to invest in real estate before or do some deals? Okay.
Todd.
Yeah. So Todd, talk to us about that. The self-directed IRA king.
Thanks, Matt. Matt's. Yeah, well, to be honest with you, most of the investors I talk to are my age, and I'm of the age that has accumulated a lot of money in an IRA, or a 401k rolled into an IRA. My last W-2, I literally rolled it right from an IRA or from a 401k into a self-directed IRA. I did some hard money lending out of it. I still have some money out there. and it's great. I mean, I get all this. I have two. I have one that's a Roth and one that's not. So I don't plan on touching that money for a long time. And you know, the Roth is great because I've already paid. I've paid taxes on the seed, so I won't have to pay taxes on the crop. So that's good. That's a benefit. And frankly, being in real estate and going bigger is this is an offshoot of that. And this wouldn't be for your lenders, but maybe capital partners or equity partners. The losses from a big the 100% or the cost seg study we did on Roseview is going to let me move money from my IRA to my Roth without paying on the crop. So I will be able to move that into a Roth, and then I'll have even well, I'm lending out of both, but then I will pay less taxes. But yeah, if you can get I mean, and I'm glad if you have somebody that's got a white goatee like me, and they they have money in a 401k or a IRA, I'd be glad to sit down with them and make them comfortable about the concept. It's just a different, there's I use Fidelity for my stock portfolio, and I use Equity Trust for so there's different custodians allow different investments. So Equity Trust is one that allows real estate investing and basically hard money loans out of it. So yeah, if you want to talk more about it, I know there's some other people in this group, Brian Buxton, because I actually talked to him before I started hard money lending out of mine. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else, but Brian's a good one. Anyways, but I did have a win. I sat one of our investors that I brought to our East Rochester deal, East Madison, is agreed to roll their money into our next deal. And they also brought me a referral that I had lunch with today for some more investment. So lunch meeting went well. We traded emails. I'm going to send him a copy of a sample promissory note, and hoping to get more money to buy more real estate.
Awesome. So now I'm gonna have to walk away from my computer a little bit because there's a smoke alarm that's going off in our house. False alarm, by the way. But I do want to say though is that the conversation of on a self-directed IRA, there are people like, let's say, that have a 401k. Like, you're gonna get a lot of like investors or potential investment partners that say that I have always wanted to invest in real estate. Okay, but I just don't have the capital to do so. Okay. And self-directed IRA investors are perfect because one, they don't need the income right now. Two, it's like it's money they already have. They can actually deploy away from the stock market. And the thing to do to be able to actually talk to them about investing in real estate, for instance, or being a private lender is like doing it yourself. Okay, so who has a like a 401k or IRA here? Raise your hand. Okay. So if you had a 401k left previous employer, you can convert some or all of that actual 401k into a self-directed IRA. Okay. And it makes you just that much more credible if you actually gone through the process yourself and actually doing it, because it's actually super simple. Super simple. It doesn't have to be the whole damn thing. Okay. Even if you have, like, let's say, I don't know, you're $15,000 in a 401k left with an old employer or an IRA, like you can still, convert that to a self-directed IRA, just so you can actually speak from experience with actually doing it yourself. Okay. And then, being able to talk to people, like, not like nobody knows that you can actually have exposure to real estate with your IRA. Like, nobody knows this. Okay. So don't just assume that it's something that is actually like, oh, okay, like everybody knows about this. Like, they don't. And when
Oh,
I
they
bring it
don't.
up to people, whether it's for, yeah, it's like, it blows mind blown emoji.
I
Right.
was at a 60th birthday party and I brought it up, and people were like, obviously, other people of 60 years old, they'd never heard of it. They're like, what? So it was like I had a group of people standing around me explaining what a self-directed IRA was. And these are the people that have, worked their whole life to put money into a 401k or IRA. And, the stock market's been going up and up and up, right, lately. Kind of, didn't the S&P just hit the new high? And people get a little squirrely, like there's going to be a correction. Well, when's the best time to harvest some of your gains, other than when it's at the top, right? You buy low and sell high. That's a good time to move it into a self-directed IRA and lend out of it. So, yeah, this is, I found, because this happened, I was on a walk on Canal Path in Fairport a couple nights ago, and somebody I coach soccer with, when my youngest was, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, came up to me, we started chatting and said, I wish I had gotten into real estate, blah, blah, blah. It's a perfect opportunity to say, well, you still can. You can invest with me. And that's exactly what I did. I don't have a lunch meeting with him yet, but it's an easy, people are very curious about real estate, and it's an easy transition from, I wish I had invested in real estate when I was younger, or whatever the case is. You can say you still can.
Todd, fire truck is here at my house. You guys take it from here. Okay.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's not a false alarm. You better go.
Todd, quick question for you. If you have an active IRA right now, can you still turn some of it to self-directed, or do you have to wait till you quit that employer?
Well, if it's a 401k, I think if you you should check with your 401k custodian. If it's an IRA, so throughout my career, when I moved a job, I would roll it in out of the last employers, because I didn't want to be beholden to the last employer's 401k provider. So I just kept, it wasn't like it happened every year, but I would roll it into a Fidelity account. So it became, I got out of a 401k and into an IRA. IRAs are very fluid, but if you have a 401k, you have to talk to your provider, because sometimes if you roll money out of it into an IRA when you're a current employee, then they may prevent you from adding any more money into that 401k. So if it's a 401, there's a difference, right? 401k is employer sponsored account. An IRA is you're on your own, basically. So you should check with the custodian of the 401k before you move any money, because it could prevent you from future contributions to your 401k. And if you're getting a match, I tell everybody this, if you're getting a match, you should at least invest in a match, right? Yeah. Like if you're getting 3%, you should at least 3%, up to 3% match. You should be doing that, because that's free money. You don't have to do more. You can do other investments like real estate, but always meet their match. So did I answer your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I meant to say 401k. I didn't mean to say IRA, but yes, you did.
Yeah, and if you have I don't have my screen. I'm sure that's Casey's voice.
Yes, it is.
There you are. If you have 401ks from a previous employer, and it's just sitting there, then you can roll that. You can roll it into your current 401k, or you can roll it into an IRA. So I don't know if you have, is your 401k, do you just have one?
Yeah, I was always self-employed before the current job I'm in.
Okay. And did you have an IRA from that? Were you able to save any for retirement?
Yes. Okay. That's through a separate than my 401k.
then that's the money. That's the easiest money to move, less complicated, anyways.
Okay.
If you're going to do it out of a 401k, I would, I would definitely make sure you're not cutting yourself off at the knees for future contributions.
Okay, thank you.
Sure thing. Matt, were the fire trucks that just there to pass the boot for collections or what?
No, it was a false alarm, and because I'm looking over here at the second floor hallway of my house. Like that was the smoke head that was going off, and I was like, I don't smell any smoke, like it's not going on, and I was like, oh geez, and my wife's putting was putting my son down to bed, and I was like, okay, all right, we'll just we'll wait for this thing to turn off, and then the fire, and then it did, and then the fire department showed up.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that like I don't know, Todd and other people in the group have done is just like talking about, yeah, I had no idea they could actually, and you could do video like Todd and I do with our big dumb faces on there, or you could just do you could post something, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook or something like that. It's like I had no idea that I could actually use my IRA or an old 401k that left behind another employer to invest in real estate. And this is what I found. And being able to speak through experience, like you have so many people reaching out to you.
Man, I never thought this big dumb face would be my moneymaker.
Me neither. But yeah, Vlad, I missed a little bit. What was in your mind's eye as to like what you wanted to cover in part two? Because I actually didn't listen or watch the last week's call.
I was just following what you had what you had planned. So, um, yeah, I was piggybacking off of our meeting from the other day or a week ago about some of the new content you wanted to cover. Guess it's coming in the future.
Okay, so the overall framework here from from a building OPM infrastructure standpoint is one, canvas your sphere of influence. Okay, people that are friends, family, professional contacts. Okay, these are people that have the KLT factor with you, the know, like, and trust factor. Okay, and just tell them what you're doing. If you haven't done this yet, then just do it. Okay, and my favorite way to do it, because I'm lazy, is just to document in my real estate journey on social media. Okay, because social media exists for one thing and one thing only, it's to make you money, people in your sphere of influence money, and Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, that's the only purpose of social media. And like anything else in terms of like kids' pictures and politics and funny cat videos and that sort of thing is all bullshit. Okay, so and I would say, or this is not mutually exclusive. Also, getting together face to face with people in your sphere of influence, right? Grabbing coffee, lunch with them, catch up, right? You like these people, so just make it a point to like actually get together with them, face to face. If you see them at a social gathering, all right, just say, hey, listen, it's been a long time since we caught up. Yeah, let's grab coffee or lunch. I know we want to circulate. I know we got kids running around and that sort of thing. And, let's catch up. Okay. It's about having a best friends conversation. And guess what? You don't even have a deal to present to them. All right. All you're doing is just saying like what you're doing next, the next chapter of your real estate journey, because all of you here have invested in real estate. Okay. Every single one of you here. All right. So that's pretty much step one. And then step two is expanding that sphere of influence, right? Because at some point in time, as you scale, deals are going to come faster to you than your ability within which to essentially leverage the relationships in your sphere of influence. So you have to have an ever expanding sphere. Okay, so how do you do that? All right, so I like to do it by just bolting it on to things you're already doing. Okay, whether it's your kids play hockey. Okay, so make new friends. This is all building relationships. All it is about is just making new friends. That is it. It's just making new friends. It's not some sort of like overly complicated thing. Okay. And this could be through, hockey parents. It could be through dance parents. It could be through a nonprofit you serve on a committee with. Okay. You can bolt this stuff onto stuff that you're already doing in your life. Okay. That's the easiest thing. Okay. And if you're not doing anything beyond that, then it's like, okay, finding something that you like to do, or, getting yourself in rooms with new people. Okay. How I do that in the most uncomfortable way possible is my thing is that I'm involved with political fundraisers. Okay. So talk about being uncomfortable, okay, in a room. I don't know if you guys have been to a political fundraiser before, but it is very, very uncomfortable. Okay. So making friends there. Why? Because I'm passionate about local politics. I'm passionate about supporting candidates that can actually support policy initiatives that will improve our community, and people that are willing to drop $500, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 to be in a room there are typically people that have some dough, right? So my whole objective is to make one new friend out of that group, right? So any of these things, okay, is that you can capitalize. I don't know, capitalize maybe isn't a good word, but you can leverage something you're already doing that you actually enjoy or passionate about. Okay, it doesn't have to be starting a whole new thing. Okay, and that's how I like to do it, right? And also, so using social media, it's like if you can hit thousands of people or hundreds of people with this content that's just positioning you as a subject matter expert that you are already, as a successful, maybe battle hardened real estate investor. Especially all of us have gotten our ass kicked several times. Don't be afraid to talk about that. Then it just becomes this indoctrination effect with people there. That, okay, yeah, Todd's in real estate and he's good at it. Todd's in real estate and he's good at it. Todd's in real estate and he's good at it. Okay, so that your identity gets fused with this thing. Okay, so that you become a subject matter expert and a go-to person. And when somebody thinks about buying an investment property or buying an Airbnb or whatever, they think of you. Okay, and they'll reach out to you and they'll think of you as that expert, because I can guarantee you they don't have many people that are in their sphere that are in that vein. Okay, and that's it in terms of the first phase of this whole thing, is making new friends, canvassing the friends you already have, the people in your sphere of influence. Okay, and that's the whole thing. All right, you don't have to have a deal yet. All you have to say is that I'm looking for, right now our goal this year is we're looking for a 10 to 25 unit multifamily property and the South Wedge Park Avenue, North Wind Village neighborhood in the city of Rochester. And so, if I found a deal I really liked a lot, would you like to hear about it and how you might be able to participate? Okay. That's how I pop the question. Sometimes the people, if you're talking about real estate and everybody's interested in real estate, they'll actually pop the question to you. All right. Who has that happened to here? I don't have to freaking ask. Oh man, you know what? If you ever found a deal you really liked, let me know about it. I'd like to be involved. Right. I didn't even have to ask them. So, but if they don't, I'm still going to say, hey, might be interested in participating. They always say yes, because you don't have a deal. You don't have anything for them to commit to. You don't have any commission breath, where you're pressuring on them and that sort of thing. This is the whole step, the whole thing. Because then after that, and you're doing this and getting the reps in, hopefully on a weekly basis, then when it comes time to, after the 6th, 7th, 8th offer you've made that has gone nowhere, all right, you get an offer accepted, a property under contract, and then we start the communication process to those people. All right. And it's a very, very integral process. And a lot of you have been through this before. And it's not like high pressure. Okay. And it doesn't need to be high pressure, because you already did the work in terms of laying the foundation to begin with. So that's it. Any thoughts on that?
Matt, I really, your early lessons on social media and changing your persona or your avatar, I think were two huge pieces for me. I mean, I do some pretty janky videos of even every, I stutter and it's not perfect. Sometimes I have to rehearse it. I'm getting better with CapCut and these things where I can, cut things in and out. But people will come up to me and say, "Oh, you're doing real estate now," and then they're like, "Oh, it must be tough to be a realtor or a broker or whatever, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "No, I'm an investor," and that starts a whole other conversation. Like I sat down in the dentist chair. Some of you probably already heard this story, and the dentist was asking me, "What do you do?" And I'm a real now. I'm real. Yes, exactly. He was just about to stick his hands in my mouth, and he said, "What do you do?" Real estate investor. Asked me a couple questions, and he goes, somewhere in the conversation in between all the stuff he had to do, he was like, "So where do you get the money to do it?" And I basically turned to him and said, "I talked to a lot of dentists," and that made him laugh, made it like a friend's conversation, and I have, it hasn't gone anywhere yet, but that's kind of the technique. But I would highly recommend just do it. Pick a video format that you're comfortable with. I assume a lot of the folks here have apartments and you have vacancies, so just walk your vacancy, and it's like people make money on YouTube unwrapping the latest iPhone, for crying out loud. So just walk through it. Your apartment. Just repeat whatever your Zillow ad is as you're walking through the apartment. Start on the outside, show a nice, beautiful blue sky, walk through, talk about it. Bam, you have a video. You have a minute and a half video, which is probably too long, but damn it, that you just put your face on there, and then people start to ask you, "Oh, I saw you're doing real estate." If they see you as a chef or something, it's really flipping your personality or your persona. If you're working a W-2 right now, you're at a cocktail party and somebody says, "What do you do?" Do not say you're W-2. You say, "I'm a real estate investor," because you just lost the opportunity. If you say, "Oh, I'm a project manager," then poof, it's harder to get back around to explaining that you're a real estate investor. Oh, right there, Chad. Yep, so true, Todd. And I know he's a project manager. So
yeah, you
don't
targeted me, Todd. You targeted me.
Do not lead with that. Do not lead with that. I'm a real estate investor. And I got this side hack called project management.
Exactly. It is a hard habit to break. You're right.
It is. And it definitely comes with like an imposter syndrome the first few times you do it. But once you get comfortable laying it out there and you do a couple videos, people come up to you, they already know what you're doing. And Matt, that's your whole know, like, and trust. Before I joined this group, I literally watched Matt for months. Like, I would wake up to Matt like every morning. My wife thought I was cheating on her because I would pick up my phone and see Matt, then Matt would be there. So the video, I think it's one to many, right? You don't have to work that hard. If you do a couple videos and some posts, start with some posts and then work your way up to video. And Matt, I don't know, you brought this up before, like with your social media coach, that people like to see faces on social media, not just pictures. Pictures are good, start there, but then go into a couple lines of talking. You can practice the video and never publish it. Start there. Just create a couple videos and then rewatch them.
Actually, don't do that, because Irene had a whole backlog of like TikToks and videos, that sort of thing, that she recorded. She's like, I'm going to publish them eventually, and then she opened up her TikTok app to post them, and they're all gone. All gone.
No.
Yeah.
All right, just do a couple till you get used to the whole videoing yourself.
But this is what I'm saying is like, okay, so it's like social media platforms they're ad companies. They make money on selling ads. Okay. And believe me, I mean, I I spend money on ads, all right, to Facebook to acquire new clients. And the algorithm is really good at delivering content that is interesting to people to keep their eyeballs on the app and keep them addicted to the app. All right. So if you post something and it absolutely sucks, no big deal. Nobody's going to see it. Nobody. All right. Maybe some of your friends, and they'll bust your balls about it. You know what I mean? But if you're posting something, let's say consistently about, let's say real estate, Todd, I love that story. I'm actually going to do that. Posting a walkthrough of typically our leasing agent does that, but I'll do it for one of my properties. We have an apartment available, and post a walkthrough there. And then while I'm there, I'll be like, you know what? Let's see what else I can do with this property, right? So it's like maybe there's like a blowing down the boiler, okay, right? Because we have a steam boiler at one of the buildings, and the importance of that. There's just so many things you can do, and it doesn't need to be like overly produced or anything like that. Just do it. Perfect is the enemy of good. Okay, because if it needs to be perfect, it's never gonna get done. And like, listen, like my videos are, I've ever since when I was using Cam's company, my videos were like really, really good, and then I just started going back to my own videos, and I think that it's like, hey, you know what? You can tell yourself like, I need a videographer, and the thing is like, it's good to splice in both of those things, right? If you have a videographer and you're doing this stuff on your own, right, Cam?
Yeah, I wanted to comment on that.
You and Mason, Carter told me to do that. So
I was gonna actually chime in here, and Todd, you brought up a good point about first of all, just not caring and getting the perfectionism out of your head before you post, because the more real you are, the more authentic, usually that's the content that does better anyways. And Matt, to your point, I think the highly produced cinematic video has a place, but even in my own content, and this is someone who owns a video company, I was doing more of the iPhone, raw type of content, and that would always outperform the overproduced stuff, probably because people see so much of the ads and super setup with all the great lighting and everything. So yeah, just don't use it as an excuse to think that you need to appear perfect on camera, because the content that does best is when people can relate to real human beings that are in a t-shirt and just walking around and being a normal person.
100%. Well, everybody, that's a wrap for tonight. We will see you all next week, and then I think David Kungle, are you on here? Because we have like a bunch of like note takers in here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool.
I put something on your calendar for Monday.
Oh, you did? Okay. Do you need
Yes.
you need to have that before then? Because I just want to be conscious of this, because I know that you've been working on this refi deal.
Yeah, I mean, if you have time tomorrow or Friday,
Okay.
I'm flexible on hours. Could be early, could be late.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah. Let me take a look at. I'll touch base with you, and then once we get some resolution there, I think that this would be valuable for other people too. So.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, David. All right, well, sounds good.